Hello everyone. Today we're going to start with statistics, and the very first chapter we will be doing is going to be something related to sampling and data. The things we're going to cover in this one is what is statistics, a goal of statistics, and the key terms used in statistical studies. So let's begin with what is statistics. Now we are encountering data daily. And based on this data, we are consciously or unconsciously making our decisions. Statistics is one of those art and science which helps to us to learn from this data. It helps us to make sense of the data which is given to us. Statistics provides us with a very powerful tool to make analysis and also it helps us in presenting our results. So in this art and science of learning from data, we talk about some of the research questions which will help us in solving those problems. In order to do that research study we're looking at, we would sometimes collect data, clean up the data, analyze, interpret, and finally present our findings on it. Some of the simplest examples could be like the average amount of TV watched per day, or the percentage of people who are concerned about global warming, median height of a woman in college, or the range of hand spans of our college statistics students. In some form or the other, we are going to have some data, and we will apply the techniques of statistics to make inferences about it. Before we go deeper into statistics part of that, the technical aspects, we'd like to know what are the main components of what statistics is made up of. There are three main components of statistics. The first one is design. It's like, how do we plan in getting a data? For example, if you want to do some research on the left-handed students at APSU. So the question is, how do we go about collecting all the left-hand students? Either we create a survey and individually go and pick random students and ask whether there's left-handed or right-handed, or if a previous study has been done on it, we might go and get that data wherever it is available. So there are different ways on getting a data to make our analysis. The other one is, so once we have got our data, we can clean up the data, and then we would like to describe that data. And the description of the data is basically summarizing our findings. The summarizing means you gather, organize, and look at the bigger picture of the data set. That could be in terms of graphs, charts, tables, averages, percentiles. And we can also summarize our data by using histograms, pie charts, bar graphs, all those different varieties of representing our data set. So once we have collected our data, we have summarized our data, we like to make some interpretations and see how it can help us out. So that word is called inference. So here we say we like to make decisions and predictions using some statistical techniques like probability or probability distributions in our research we are doing. For example, we said what is the average amount of TV a student is spending upon, in a week, the average amount of TV watching, say, in a week. So the idea is like, if they watch TV, is it going to affect their grades? Is it going to affect their GPA? And all those kind of things we can look around. Or if you want to study the global warming, what are the effects of global warming over the past decade? So all those things, inferences are important, and we like to make our analysis. Now let's look at some examples. The statement that there were 26 confirmed cases of West Nile virus in Tennessee in 2003. So the question is it inferential or descriptive? It simply just is describing the data set, that there are 26 confirmed cases. So the answer is, it is descriptive. Let's look at another problem. From past figures, it is predicted that 47% of the registered voters in Virginia will vote in the June primary. So here is an inference. You're saying, looking at the past, we are predicting that 47% would vote. So basically, it's an inference. You're making some predictions, making some interpretations. Another example could be in October 2002, abcnews.com reported 73% of Americans favor a law requiring all the guns which are sold in the US to be test fired, so law enforcement would have ballistic fingerprints in case a firearm is used in a crime. So here is 73% of Americans favor a law. So remember, and they're talking about how it will help the law enforcement. So it's an inferential statistics here. So then we talked about what is the goal of statistics. Goal is not to just do some numerical calculations. The idea is, what is the data telling us? Can we make an understanding of that data? And what statistical techniques can be applied using the things we learn or have learned earlier in our statistics classes, which will help us making the decisions based on our knowledge. Or we can also say, and when we do these calculations, very, very important, guys, that the understanding must come from you. Now let's begin with most important things in statistics, that is like the base of it, which is the key term population and sample. Now when I say the word population, what does it mean? Population means, suppose I'm doing a research study. In every possible person involved in that research study is going to become the part of that study. So that is called a population. That means every possible subject of interest which is involved in that research study we are doing. You can think of population as collection of persons, things, or objects under study, the formal definition. Sample, as sample says, just a part of the population. Now, in order to do our study, the population, we select a sample, and then we do apply some statistical techniques on it. And then based on our study of that portion, the sample, we gain information about the population. You can think of this population as the big, huge circle. Suppose this is the exam scores of all the 1530 students of APSU in one semester. So everybody here is an exam score, say exam 1, the first exam. And then if I'm unable to get everybody's score, so what I'm going to do is randomly pick up some students from here and, put them in a little set and then say, hey, this is sample 1. Somebody also might be doing the same, study, like looking at the scores of students of 1530. They will say, oh, let me pick up other bunch of students. So they might pick up all the students in this little red, some geometric figure I have here, and I say, hey, this is sample 2. So that way we're just basically picking randomly picking some terms from the big whole group and then get them together. That's called a sample. Now let's look at some practice problems over here. Now, to predict the outcome of 2010 gubernatorial elections in California, an exit poll sampled 3,889 of the 9.5 million people who voted. What would be the sample and what would be the population? So the sample, as usual, looking at this statement, the first one, we say it is 3,889 people who voted and they were sampled. So now what is the population? That every possible person who voted is going to be 9.5 million people. Okay, let's look at another example. In a University of Wisconsin-Madison study, 100 of the 40,858 student body members were asked on how many days in the past week did you consume at least one alcoholic drink. What would be the population? Is every student in that university, which is 40,858 858. Now, what would be the sample? The sample is 100 of them out of the whole student body population were, so asked, and that is a part of this 40,000. So the sample is 100 students. One more example, guys. Now, if you'd like to know the average or the mean amount of money first-year college students spend at San Jose College on school supplies that do not include books. So we randomly surveyed 100 first-year students at this college, and 3 of the students had spent $150, $200, and $225 respectively. What is the population? What is the sample? Now, population in this problem is all first-year students attending San Jose College who have spent money on school supplies, excluding books. Then what would be the sample? The sample randomly surveyed 100 first-year students. So we can say sample is the first-year students at the San Jose College who have spent money on school supplies, excluding books. Thank you.